Hello there, my Empowerseries family. Welcome to the Empowerseries podcast. I want to say hello to my guests in the United States and around the world, and happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I am so excited because today we're going to dig deep into the underbelly of being an entrepreneur, actually being a consultant. So our guest today is a well-renowned business consultant. I want you to get your pens and paper ready. Go ahead and get your friends, share this link because we're going to drop some serious knowledge. So our guest is Dr. Michael Burks. He's a speaker, trainer, author, and a management consultant. He holds a PhD in business. He's described as a multifaceted strategist, process reengineering, leadership educator. He serves on various boards, including the Our Foundation and Transforming Vision to Dreams organization. But more importantly, he was named as one of the top 10 management consultants in Dallas, y'all. So we are going to be blessed. He's going to drop some serious knowledge. And like I said before, we're going to look at under the hood of what it really takes to be a successful business and what people don't see. They see the success, but they don't see the process of success. So our guest today, I want you to give a welcome to Dr. Burks. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, man. It's been a long time. I've been waiting for this one.
Hey, man, you're about to bless us. You know, at the Empowerseries, we always want to make sure that we're giving people hope that they can achieve whatever they envision.
Good.
We want to inspire them to take action, consistent discipline action, educate them, which is what you're going to do with us now. But more importantly, everything takes resources. Nothing of significance can ever be done alone.
Absolutely.
So what we really want to do is connect them to resources to help them take that next step to achieve their goal. But I want to thank you for taking time out of your life and pointing to the Empowerseries family, right?
Yeah.
Look, you can be doing other things right now, someplace warm.
Oh, man. I love it. I'm from Chicago, so this cold doesn't bother me too much, man. I feel warm right there with you, brother.
So from Chi-Town, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I did mention, too, that you're an author of 5 books.
Yes.
So that's really important to me because I think that there's a wealth of knowledge that we have through our experiences.
Yeah.
And it takes commitment of time and effort to take that knowledge that's inside of us and put it in a book.
Yeah.
You've done that 5 times.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to commend you for that. We're going to mention your 5 books as well.
Appreciate it.
You can get them on Amazon or all over the place.
Yeah,
your website.
Amazon or definitely from the website. So, there's a bunch of places you can get it from, but we'll talk about that later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people who are watching this don't know you. So who are you?
Man, let's take the doctor off, man. I'm just Michael Burks Jr., a young man who grew up in Chicago, Illinois. Very humble beginnings, right? It wasn't a lot of successful people in my household. I'm not going to lie to you. The only person that I knew to be successful in my household was my grandmother. She was a CPN for all my life. Other than that, my mother couldn't hold a job. My father couldn't hold a job. My uncles, all these people, they were degenerates. They were people that grew up in Chicago, and they were, drinkers, smokers, gamblers, whoremongers, all that type of stuff, man. And it was the lifestyle that I seen for a very long time. But I always felt like I was different than everyone around me. So I was in the environment, but I wasn't a part of the environment. So from there, I found my way out of Chicago into Job Corps because I felt at one point or another that I was going to end up dead. I told my mother, I think it was, when was this? This was New Year's Eve of 1990, sitting there, talking with my mom and everything like that. And I told her, I said, look, I'm going to have to get out of Chicago. I feel like if I stay here any longer, I'm going to die. She looked at me, you know how mothers are. Don't talk like that. And, and I was like, I have to be real with you, Mom. With the things that I'm doing and the environment that I'm in, if I don't get out of this, I'm gonna end up dead.
Dog, I was going to ask you. So how old were you when you had that conversation with your mom?
Man, this was 18. I realized this.
So that's crazy. So I was born in South Central LA.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my father did a lot. There was a lot of addiction in my household, but there was a lot of care and love too.
Yeah.
They were doing the best they can. Our parents are always doing the best they can, right?
Absolutely.
But we were in an environment in South Central LA, living in a gang-infested neighborhood, rolling 60 neighborhoods, Crips. But what my family did is they actually encouraged me to do the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So going to school, playing sports, having to be in before the lights came on.
Yep.
The street lights came on.
Absolutely.
And so where all of my friends were doing that dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
And I saw how that lifestyle led to possibly me dying.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to do that. But so for you were more ingrained in the environment. Is that what you're saying? You're doing some dangerous things?
Yeah. And so I was doing those things, but it wasn't because I wanted to.
Got you.
There was no money coming in the house.
Got you. Okay.
Right.
Got you.
I had to find a way to go get money, and the only way to get money was to be a part of that environment.
Right.
So I had to. I'm getting ridiculed by my peers because I don't have the right clothes on or the newest clothes on. Right. My haircut wasn't cut. Right. I got all these things going on, and at the house, sometimes I'm having sleep for dinner. Right. A lot of people can relate to that, having sleep for dinner, or there's not enough for everyone to eat. There's very little. So there were times where I had to go out here and put my life in danger to feed my sisters and my mother. Right. So it came to that point where I was like, I'm going to have to leave so that I can do better for them.
Man, I appreciate you sharing that, man, because, we always talk to people who have arrived.
Yeah.
They're successful. You're looking fresh.
I appreciate it.
Your
I
drip
appreciate it.
is
It was all
sweet.
for the podcast. It's all for Empowerseries.
But to your point, people don't see the process and where we've come from. So I appreciate you being vulnerable enough to share that, hey, the beginning was like the vision you have for yourself wasn't like around you in the beginning.
It never starts there.
Right. It's like you're probably in the worst situation to have this dream of what's possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I always wanted more. I just didn't know how to get it. And one of the things I found out later on, and I know we'll get to it, is I've always been able to re-engineer what it looks like to get to where you're trying to go. Right. When it came down to college, I re-engineered how many classes and what the grades I needed to make in order to get out of there.
So what do you mean by re-engineer? You use some layman's terms.
All right.
Man.
So what I would do is I take the goal and I would work backwards down to what I need to do on a daily basis. Let's say, and I do this in the classroom because there's a lot of kids and there's adults out there who would like to make $100,000, right? $100,000 is $8,333.37 per month.
Right.
But that's a big number. So let's break it down some more. It would be about $297 per day. If you had a $20 T-shirt that you sold 15 times, that's $300. All you need to do is sell 15 shirts for 365 days, and that's how you get $100,000. That's how I do life. When I have an issue and a problem, I find the problem and I re-engineer to what I need to do to fix it, and then that becomes the daily thing.
Man, that's how you do life, but that's how business do life.
Yes,
that's life, right?
Absolutely.
And what businesses do that's a little bit different than the model that you laid out from an individual perspective is they have employees.
Yep.
So they get the employees to do the hustling. Ain't nothing wrong about that, too.
Absolutely.
Because most businesses are doing something valuable for the marketplace, and it's so big. The person who started it can't do that hustle.
Yeah.
So they leverage themselves by having employees, and those employers are getting paid a good enough amount of money to afford their lifestyle, right? But to your point, the simplicity of breaking that down, that's like the daily hustle.
That's it.
Because every day we hustling, man,
Every
one way
day.
or another, right?
One way or another. And if you can, so that will, at that point you have to become a good leader, right? If you've re-engineered down to what the daily things need to be, now you need to automate or delegate into these different spaces and let everybody do their job. And most entrepreneurs don't do that. That's the bottleneck, because they're so ingrained in the everyday business that they're not willing to automate or delegate to people so that they can do their job. You don't have enough trust in them if you don't give them the job and step back so that you can do the more macro things.
Okay. So you got this system, right?
Yep.
Re-engineering got you through college.
Yep.
And you got your PhD.
Man, so that's crazy. So the PhD took me a little bit more time than usual, right? A lot of the laziness and the complacency kicked in kind of midway in, and I kind of put it on the back burner. It wasn't until the pandemic came and I had a whole bunch of time on my hands that I clicked. It was like, you know what? I can use this time real wisely and try and finish this out so I can get it done and I won't have to worry about it no more and it won't be on my list. So I buckled down and got to it, man. So there would be days where I'd be, 8 hours in on the dissertation and all this other stuff, and then another 4 hours on the game with my guys from Chicago, just trying to get away from the day-to-day life and what was going on at the time.
Well, man, I tell you, I want to talk to you about why did getting a PhD, why was that part of your path? Because to your point, every day is a hustle.
Yeah.
But what's important is for us to have a vision of what we're hustling for.
Yep.
And for some people, a PhD is not on that path, right?
Yeah.
But I got a cousin out in Atlanta. So Trent, man, I'm giving you a shout out. He's on this hustle getting his PhD.
Awesome.
His father has it, his mother has it, his younger brother has it, and he's the fourth one on the
Oh, wow.
on the chain, so he's going to get it. But not everybody is on that path, but everybody is on a path for hustling for your dream.
Yep.
hustling for your vision. And whether you're in a dire situation, your environment is not conducive to your dream, you've got to be bold enough, like you were at 18, to have a sit down with your family, with people around you, to get you out of that. Right. So there was a process that you went through. Tell me a little bit about that, because I want to get to your business, how successful it is, and some of the challenges. But before we even get there, talk to me a little bit more about at 18, before you had the words to describe what you did, you had the courage enough to change your environment.
I knew that I was gonna need something different. I saw the direction of my family, my sisters, my mother. I see where things were going, and I already knew that there's gonna need to be someone, a leader in the family, that's gonna have to be different and be able to direct these people in the right path. So I took that upon myself. Right, I had a dad, but I didn't have a father. Right, there was a male in the household, but he wasn't neither one of the things that he needed to be. So I took what he was doing, against reverse engineer. I took everything that he was doing, and I took and reverse engineered into what it should be good. Right, he didn't have no education. Let me go get education. He couldn't keep a job. Let me try and see what it looks like to be a job. So I went over to the Job Corps. And the first one didn't work. I'm not going to lie to you. I got kicked out of the first one because I brung Chicago with me.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because you were hustling in the streets, making it work. But then something switched for you to say, okay, if you keep doing this, it's not going to end well.
That was it.
So
that was that. When I got
pivoted you to the Job Corps, right? But then you got into the Job Corps and you were still hustling.
Bro, listen, I did not.
Or the hustling mentality.
It was the mentality that came with me, right? And when you're from Chicago and you get amongst people who are from the same city and everything like that, there comes, when you're in a certain level of respect with gang leaders and all that other stuff, it comes with you, and there's an expectation. So when I got there, I was all about getting my education and getting the things done, but at the same time, outside of that, I was, as usual, trying to do two things at once. I was walking the line, so I was a gang leader, right? And what happened was, one day, a gentleman came on campus. He jumped the gate and threatened one of the other individuals from another gang. But I was part of this whole conglomerate that was over the entire gang leadership. Right. When it got back to me, it was upon me to go out there and make sure things don't happen the wrong way. I jump out the window of my dorm room, run out there to where it was happening, and in the midst of 400 boys out there, security came and picked me up.
Got you.
And they already knew who I was, what was going on. Now, listen.
That's why you got kicked out?
Yeah, but listen, I thought I was doing good. I was the student government president. I was dorm leader. I had everything going. My grades were right. Like, I had just finished my GED at the time, and I finished my one of the programs that I was already in, the business administration program. I'd already finished it. So in my I'm doing good. People love me around here. Right. But they already had a file on me about who I was outside of what they saw in the classroom. And they knew that I had influence over those boys in there, and they needed me to up out of there. So the moment they saw that happen, they came and got me. And man, they don't play no games in Job Corps, brother. They had none. So I was in there in a room, and they were talking to me about what's going on. Told me I was going home. I was in shorts and a t-shirt. I was like, well, can I go back to my room and put some things on? They already had my stuff in a box downstairs in the car, ready to take me home. So I had came from where was I at? Man, in Iowa. I was in Iowa at the Job Corps. I had to ride from Iowa to Chicago on a Greyhound bus with t-shirts and shorts on. It was cold, I'll tell you that much.
So what that tells me, again, part of your story is, when we know that we need to make a change, we make that change internally, and we are on that path. But then sometimes, like in The Godfather, I'm trying to get out, but they keep pulling me back in, right? So there's going to be some resistance.
I think the problem is with most of us. So when we want to make a change, we'll make the internal mental change, right? But we don't change the disciplines and habits that got us into predicament in the first place. If you're going to make any type of real change, you're going to have to change the discipline and habits. That's going to change the mindset. That's going to make the actions follow up behind it. That's something that I didn't know at the time, and it backfired on me. So
when you got back to Chicago, where did the second chance come?
Got back to Chicago, was around my mom, getting some things done, and then I knew I wasn't finished, so I figured out how was I going to get back to where I was at. Okay. What happened was you can be out for a year until you apply for Job Corps. I waited that year. and I reapplied. And I came back with a different attitude this time.
And what city were you in the second time?
Man, the second time I started out in Leona, Wisconsin. Took the carpentry program this time. I wanted to get into something a little bit more in my hands. At the time, carpentry was doing well, man.
Yeah.
You know, people were making $21 an hour in the 90s, bro. That was pretty good for
Right
you. So at 20 years old, I'm trying to make $21 an hour as a construction worker. I ain't got no kids, you know, stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I went from there. Leona, Wisconsin took me to the advanced carpentry program in Albany, Georgia. So from there, I was able to even increase more of my skills. I went out and built other campuses, like one in Kansas City, one in LA, and everything like that. I was flying all over the place and all that other stuff. Yeah, the advanced program was awesome. So I finished there, and they gave me a choice. Do you want to go back home to Chicago, or do you want to go to Atlanta? I took Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, because I knew
if you got back home to your
if
old
I go back,
neighborhood,
I can't go back to that environment because the people didn't change. I did. And you have to understand, once you change, going back around those same people, you may get sucked back in if you don't have the discipline to stay away from them. I knew I didn't have the discipline to stay away from them.
Yeah, but it takes courage, man. It takes courage to get yourself a new set of friends. If your current set don't inspire you, they're not facing the same direction that you are, right?
I love expeditions. I love journeys. I love excitement.
Yeah.
And going to a new city and living there, knowing no one knows me, I can make new friends, new life for myself. I'm always for that. And anytime someone gives me an opportunity to go to another city, live there for a moment, work there for a moment, enjoy their culture, enjoy their city, I go for it.
Well, man, I'm excited because I want to get into the heart of this business that we're going to talk about. But before we get there, another speaker, a podcast guest who started his own business, and he said, any founder, any executive, anybody who's like an entrepreneur who's taking an idea from birth to fruition and some tangible experience for other people, they have to have a faith-based life.
Yeah.
Like all these other attributes and characteristics are important, but just the part of your journey.
Yeah.
You had to have faith, man, that going to the Job Corps is going to be your way out.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you got kicked out, just waiting that year and then getting back in is going to be your way out.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me about that, man. Tell me about the importance of having a faith-based life to really be successful in the ups and downs of your life's journey.
Growing up in the environment that I did, right? Looking at 17 years of my life, my mother getting beat on at least 2 or 3 times a week, right? Us being homeless, us not having all the resources, all the things I went through, right? I always saw God because even though we didn't have everything, we had something, and it got us through some of those hard times. Yeah. And I was never in a position where we're just desolate, where I knew nothing was going to go right for us. I always have this thing where, he's brung us here for a reason, right, at this point, and we got to learn something and then get on to the next point. And where the faith really kind of drove in is later on. So when we were homeless, there were a lot of times no one would help my mother. No one. We were living out of a Pinto, the 2-door Pinto. Remember back in the day?
Yeah,
so we were in a
how many
Hunter Green.
Your father, your mother, and how many kids?
Not father, mother. No, we would be leaving and running from my father, who was abusive.
Gotcha.
So it's me, my 3 sisters, and my mother in a 2-door Pinto.
Got you.
Right.
Wow.
In the alley of our friend's alley. On north side of Chicago, because she wouldn't let us upstairs to live on the floor, to sleep on the couch. Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at that point, I told myself at a young age, if I'm ever in a position to help someone, I'll never say no. And that's how I run my business, right? Because I know that God is always providing for me. I'm always in a position where he's providing some type of resource. My brain is able to work. My body's able to work. I have a great analytical, everything's always there. I just have to find out where it is. Most people don't understand. You don't have to have the resources. You just have to be resourceful.
Right.
Right. And all my life I've been able to believe that if I just keep being resourceful, looking for what is there, he'll provide it for me. There's no...
That's a faith walk right there, bro.
Man, listen, because it always, you go through these situations where you end up getting confirmation on stuff, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw the video of Denzel Washington saying, you know, your dreams are God's confirmation that it's yours already.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
It clicked in my head like, okay, the scripture does say he would never give you sight on anything you couldn't have. So if the dream has been put inside of my head, it's obtainable. It's there for me to have. I just have to get on the right path, walk it the right way, and look for the little things that he puts out there, right, for you to be able to achieve these things. And one of the things you have to do on your journey, and I want everybody to know this, is that sometimes you just have to be quiet, because God doesn't yell, he doesn't scream, and he's not on the top of the mountain yelling with a bullhorn. He's in the quiet places. He's whispering. And if you stand still for a second and get quiet and stop getting out and being in your own head, you can hear exactly where he's telling you to go. And that's what I've been able to do for a very long. It saved my life a couple of times in Chicago.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about an instance, and then we can move on. Right, March of '91, I was in a car with 5 of my friends, smoking weed as a degenerate, mostly in Chicago. Right, and we're riding around. We had just finished up, and they were like, "Hey man, let's go get something to eat." I'm like, "Sure, let's go do it." But in the back of my mind, I had just remembered that I had this sandwich, which is an Italian beef sandwich. It's one of the best sandwiches in Chicago. If you're in Dallas, go to Portillo's and order Italian beef sandwich.
Right.
But I was like, I got one of those at home. I don't need to spend no money. Drop me off at the house. They was like, man, you tripping? No, drop me off at the house. I'll see y'all later. So they dropped me off at the house. So 5 minutes into like heating up this sandwich and all that other stuff, I noticed that I didn't have nothing to drink. Now, I don't know if anybody out there has ever smoked any weed or anything like that, but drinking ice water just wasn't going to work for me.
Right.
So I went ahead and I was like, all right, I'm about to go get an orange crush. So I throw on my jacket. It's March in Chicago, so it's cold. Throw on my jacket, zip it up. I'm walking outside, walk around the corner, and I noticed like in the distance, like there's some smoke and like stuff going on. I get down closer towards the store, and what was going on, there was the car that I was just in no more than 10 minutes ago. They ran right into the viaduct. The car was on fire. They were incinerated on impact.
Wow, dog.
If you're the sum of the 5 friends you hang around and I was still in that car, who would I be? I wouldn't be here with you on Empowerseries, right?
Right.
A lot of us need to understand the environment that we're in, the friends that we're having, the things that we're thinking. All those things, you're in that car. You're on your way. And if you don't get out very soon, you're going to end up in that same fire that those boys are going to be in. So that's how I live my life, man. I listen for the little things that tell me to get out the car, and I get out as quickly as possible, and I execute.
Cool. So, you know, that's speaking to somebody, right?
Yeah,
right?
I hope so.
Look who you're hanging around with right now. You know, in the Empower series, I always say that we're called to be better stewards of our ideas.
Yeah.
Because they come from our creator, right?
Yep.
Tapping on our subconscious, like Dennis Kimbrough says, saying, hey, do you want more out of life?
Yep.
And so we've got to believe in that. And that would dictate how we spend our time. That would dictate who we spend our time with.
Yep.
And then on that journey, it's not going to be an easy journey, right?
Absolutely not.
Because at the end of the day, things don't get easy, right? All we get is we learn how to do hard better. And we learn how to make hard look easy, but it's still hard, right?
Be okay with the hard. Like, be okay with what the struggle looks like. That's the only way you're going to get through something. How are you going to learn anything if you're not struggling through it? Right. If everything was easy, then we would live in the Garden of Eden. The apple would have never got eaten. We've been amongst God. We'd have been amongst our Father, right? But it's not like that. There's going to be challenges that you're going to face. There's a lot of things going on. You just have to be ready for it and know that storms don't last always, like they say, right? So go in the storm, get wet, find out what's going on in there, learn what you have to learn, and then come back out a different person. But don't get all discouraged because you're in the storm. There's something for you to learn. There's a way for you to get better in the storm.
Right.
And that's the part that I love when I'm like now. I'm in a storm. There's a way for me to get better for the next person that I'm going to meet later on. Everything that you go through now that's a challenge becomes a lesson for the person that you may meet later on.
Man,
if you never make it through that challenge, you'll never be able to change someone's life later on. It's not about you. It's about the people that you touch.
You know, that's interesting because I keep quoting people in my mind, right?
Yeah.
So previous Power Series guest, Dr. George Frazier.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Recently, he came and did, well, not recently, but a few years ago, before COVID, he did a program called Networking, the 7 mistakes that people make when they network.
Yeah.
And he did this introduction like in 30 seconds. It was really great. They should look, if you haven't seen it, you should look at it. Just Google Dr. George Frazier and the Empower Series Networking. However, the part that he said that was brought to my mind from what you just said was the purpose of life.
Yeah.
Right? The purpose of life is to love, to give, to serve, and to add value to someone or something. Simply, that's it. And then he says, we shouldn't be sucking up air if we're not doing that. So when you talk about whatever we go through is really for somebody else, and getting through it is for somebody else.
Yep.
You know, whatever our ideas are is really for somebody else to do this, to be of service.
Yeah.
I want you to share with me. I want you to do your kind of, let us know what you do. How do you add value? And what people see from the outside, you know, the shiny stuff. Oh man, successful, dripping consultant that's like impacting people's lives, author of 5 books, you know.
Oh yeah.
One of the top 10
looks great.
business consultants. I want you to tell us who that is. And then I want you to, after you tell us who it is, I want you to peel back the onion.
Yeah.
And tell me some of the real things that people don't know and don't see. So who are you then?
Man, the crazy part, I love that you said, who are you? So I went through a coaching session a long time ago, probably around 10 years ago, with a gentleman by the name of Mike Harris, Coach Mike Harris, man. And we went through the who are you, right? And it's difficult definitely as a man, when someone asks you, who are you? And you can't answer it, because most people will answer with what they do. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur that does this and blah, blah, blah. No one really knows who they are. I'm glad that I do. I am a man of principles and values who loves helping people no matter where they are in life. Now that I know who I am, what I do and how I do it became simple, because without knowing who you are, knowing what you do and how you do it is going to become very difficult. And a lot of people in business don't know who they are, so it's difficult to find out exactly your niche, your skills, your set, your superpower, right? But that's who I am. So, and we'll go back to one piece of it for a second, then we move into the business, right? You talked about the PhD. That wasn't for no one in the community. That wasn't for anyone in Empowerseries. That wasn't for my family. It wasn't for nobody. It was so that my sons can know that they can reach the highest level of education if they wanted to as a black man. That's what I wanted them to know. So it wasn't so that people can call me Dr. Burks. It sounds nice. I love it. Right? It's a great piece of a tool to get in certain places a lot of the times. But I didn't do it for you. I did it for my son who's at home about to go to college next year, and if he wants to, he can play football or he can go get his PhD and become a businessman like his father. But I want him to understand that all of those options are available. So,
or you can do both.
Or you can do both. However, listen, if you're that man that can do all of them, I'm going to sit and watch it from the side, and I'm going to root you in the bad and the good. And he knows that too. Both my sons know that I've always root them on through the bad and the good, because I know the bad is always going to make it look greater later on. So there's that, right? And then knowing who I am made me want to help others, right? I was in a position where I was going through a lot of consulting, coaching and everything like that. Different people I would invest in these different individuals' programs.
You were getting coaching.
Yeah. Okay. I was getting coaching. I was investing in all these programs and everything like that. And it just was fluff.
Yeah. I see a lot of fluff out there.
It was a lot of misinformation. It was a lot of disinformation. Like it's just too much, right? And I thought I was in a great place until I started learning that my systems, my back office, the structure, all of that was wrong. This was in the midst of me taking those classes for PhD and all this other stuff. And I'm like, this kind of contradicts the stuff that this gentleman was telling me. And it put me in a very bad position early business-wise. So I told myself, whatever I learn that's right, no matter what anyone thinks, I'm going to teach that. I'm going to start teaching what's right. And I'm going to teach it as simple as possible, because I get tired of individuals speaking with these huge jargon words. Like, I got a PhD, but I'm not for to sit up here and talk to you from a dissertation point of view on how to build your business. No, I'm going to talk to it as simply as possible. You saw me break down $100,000. Yeah. I'm going to break down business in that simplest form so that you can understand it. You don't talk to people from a 12th grade or a PhD level or MBA level. No, you talk to them from an 8th grade or lower level so they can retain it. The other things are, most of the time, the bigger stuff, the stuff that they don't understand, get delegated or automated out. It's just about understanding a simple system to get further, right? And it took me a while to get to the system. But What I do in general is help individuals reverse engineer the challenge that they're having in their business, and then I insert strategies, whether it be marketing, systems, automations, operations, products, services, and I implement strategies so that they can improve those areas. And there's 5 of them that I help out with that increases profits up to 300%. And last year was responsible for $20 million in revenue for the businesses that I was able to coach.
Okay, and I was going to get to that. So you're definitely adding value.
Yes.
And so the other thing that Dr. George Frazier said was improve it.
Yeah.
So if you look at the 10 years of consulting that you've done,
Yeah.
right? Not the consulting for other businesses, but your practice.
And let me put in perspective, 10 years in business, 3 years in profitability.
Got it.
Yeah, because for 7 years
so
it was about building and trying to make sure I got the right thing.
And now I would tell you at 10 years. So what years were the profitability? The latter 3 years, or because it's ups and downs, right?
Yeah, it's ups and downs. We're not gonna lie. We don't say the last 3 years have been profitable.
Right.
We're gonna say, in the beginning there was a year where things were going good, and then it went kind of bad.
It goes
there was some
up
other
and
year.
down.
Oh
It's
man,
never
it was
like-
going. No, it wasn't like 7 years bad and then boom, boom, boom. It was
Right.
going on. No. It was like bad. There's a little good, and bad. There's a little good for you.
Right.
So it was always up and down, but I always stick with it because I know it was working.
Right on.
I knew it was working, and because I saw the people that I was working with and it was working for them, and I was like, okay, I got something. I gotta hone in exactly on what I'm supposed to be doing. I gotta find the system that works for me, and then I gotta double down on that. And that's what I've done thus far now, where I'm in a place where I really like the system that I'm working.
Okay, so a little bit more about your successes before I get into what's underneath the hood.
Yep.
So you have, I was looking, actually I'll just kind of read it here.
Yep.
So you have a signature coaching model called Master the Game, and GAME stands for growth, accountability, methodology, and execution.
He did his homework, y'all.
Then you have a net revenue system, which is a tool to unlock sustainable growth.
Yep.
And to scale your business. You have Advisor Edge, which helps businesses grow their revenue, raise capital, manage cash flow, and reduce cost, implementing solutions.
Yep.
And then you do executive advisory coaching for entrepreneurs, business owners, and C-suite executives, as well as athletes.
Yeah.
And so when I see this, and then your 5 books, man, I know I did some research, bro.
I know.
Right?
I love it.
So the 5 books that you have, I do want to talk to you about them because it's going to tee up a question.
Okay.
Okay. So one of your books,
Intentional Mindset.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. It's right in front of me, man. It's on the first page. I'm looking through all the other ones. So you have 5 books: Intentional Mindset, How to Begin with Self and Achieve Deliberate Success.
Yeah.
The Small Business Survival Guide.
Yep.
Personal Development, Concepts of Success Through Visualization and Affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
Time Management, The Entrepreneur's Manual to Time Management.
Yeah.
And then Wired for Success, How to Attract Anything You Want in Life by Rewiring Your Mind to Reach Its Full Potential. So you got 5 books, you got 10 years of consulting, blessing a lot of people. How many people would you say you've touched in lives that you've impacted over the past 10 years?
Man, probably around 3,000.
Okay.
And we're talking about worldwide. There was a time where I had a lot of clients that were in overseas. I've had people in Croatia, Nigeria, things of that sort.
Okay.
So yeah, probably around 3,000 people.
Okay, so people, again, they look at you, man. I'm telling you, you're looking good.
I appreciate it.
Like before I even met you, I was like, so who's this brother? Like, what does he do, right?
Yeah, when we first met, like, man, hold on, we can talk to this guy.
Look, I'm a financial advisor,
Right?
Yeah, and I can read people too.
Yeah.
Right, and so I'm thinking, okay, so people who are really wealthy and successful don't always look wealthy and successful.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I look past the veneer of success.
Yep.
But you've always been like, so what do you do, brother? What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? Right. So I'm glad you're here on the podcast telling the Empowerseries community your story.
Yeah.
Because I believe, again, it's going to inspire somebody. You're speaking to someone. There are no accidents, and this is when it was meant to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, man, because you look like success.
I appreciate it.
And you are successful on your journey.
Yeah.
But we want to talk about some of the breakdown.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the times where, like even with the Empowerseries, people don't see that. They look at this and think everything's great.
Yeah.
But there's some struggle going on. We have a funding issue this year.
Yep.
Right. But we're still moving forward. And my thought is, when there's a perception of scarcity, do more.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
But I want to know about your ups and downs, and just give you the mic to share that so that we can know the real path of entrepreneurship.
Man. And so that was the real reason. And that's what we talked about beforehand, right? I want to be as genuine and as authentic as possible with people to get them to understand that just because I look good right now doesn't mean that everything's going on great behind the cameras, right? Behind the cameras, there's some big challenges right now. So 1120, my company, 1120 Ventures, right now is having financial issues. We have lost a lot of clients due to whatever recession and funding and all this other stuff at the moment, and we're in the red, right? We're in a position where we really can't function as a company, and I'm dumbing down on some of the solutions that I have and focusing in on just a few to try and add value to the people that I have at the moment. People don't understand that, I can't pay some of the services at the moment that I have. I can't pay myself at the moment. It's probably going to be another 8 or 9 months before I can pay myself. So I have to figure out how I can supplement the money that I was bringing from that into the household where I was paying a few things and making a few things happen, right? And not to mention, I have a wife who's a social media influencer, right? And at the moment, we're having challenges with getting paid from our Facebook and all this other stuff. So we got to figure all this out. So we're in a bad position as a family trying to get the money back to where it was.
Right.
So, and a lot of men can attest to this. It's all on you.
Yeah.
They look to you for the solutions.
And dog, when you're not bringing it in, not hitting it, it's like it can affect you.
It affects you in a
right?
very big
Your
way.
value, like what's my confidence level?
When I have to look at my children and my wife and know that we're struggling at home, it's hard to bring energy to the job, right? Because you're thinking about how do I take care of home so much that the job becomes second,
Right on.
right? So it's hard to kind of connect those two. So I'm in one of those positions like that. So yes, I'm going through a lot of challenges, and I've been through some very bad challenges. Some of the challenges earlier on was helping people and not being able to get any reciprocation, right? I've made some people some good money in their businesses and have yet to even get a referral from their network. And it's difficult to watch you succeed off of the back of the information and the tools and the things that I gave you, and you not even give me a call like, hey, I got a couple of people that I think that would benefit from what you got going on. So that early on, I was going through that. Absolutely. So that early on, that was some things that I was going through. Then I went through a challenge where I was underpricing myself. There was a time where I was doing coaching for $50. I would sit down with a person with what I know at an MBA level, right, at a master's level, and give them information on how to grow their business, and they would go do it, and all they paid me was $50 for that hour. Because I was in a position where I thought I'm only 3 years in to this coaching thing, and I really don't know what I'm doing, right? I had that thing where a lot of us go through where we feel like we're a fraud.
Was that imposter syndrome?
The
right?
imposter syndrome, yeah. I felt like for 2 years of my business, I felt like an imposter. Like, who am I to go tell someone how to grow their business and mine isn't growing at the rate that theirs is growing? But I had to realize that the information I know is bigger than what I'm going through at the moment. And I had to use that information to both grow my business and theirs. And that's how it started kind of growing back then. But those are the challenges that I face on a daily basis. Like, we're not talking about I'm always solvent in my business. There are times where all the money goes to bills and I can't pay myself. And I'm okay with that. But I would definitely like to get to a lifestyle, the lifestyle that I was living for a moment, where I'm able to pay all the bills, pay all the systems, pay all the virtual assistants and all the stuff that I have, and still be able to live a comfortable life and be able to hang out and do some of the things I like to do with my family. So right now I'm working on that. I'm reverse engineering the problem, the entire issue from a 10,000 foot view, and I'm making a bigger play at fixing the problem. Like right now, I'm not trying to fix like a Band-Aid type thing. I'm trying to really put something in place to where I can have new challenges and new problems. These challenges that I've been facing for the last 10 years, I'm about tired of them. So now I'm trying to alleviate them all with a system that it doesn't happen again, so I can move on to the next part of life where there's some bigger challenges that I would love to face.
Yeah. So, this is crazy, man. and I'll share this on another podcast, but I was going through looking for something,
Yeah.
and I spent like down a rabbit hole trying to find like a old insurance license number, right?
Yeah.
And I found some goals that I wrote down back in 1989, and I looked at them, and there's some deep goals because this year we did this map it, dream it, map it, live it, and we're going back to our goal process. But I looked there, and one of them said to never get stressed out over financial matters.
Man,
because I knew back then that if you're making a lot of money, you got different issues.
Yeah.
If you ain't making enough, you still got issues, right? It's
Yeah.
like no matter where you are,
there's going to
you
be
got
challenges.
issues. And so what I'm hearing from you, man, it's like it kind of started with your business not bringing in the money, right?
Yeah.
And that can have a ripple effect, though, right? Not just life takes funding, so you've got to pay for things. And even though your revenue may not be consistent, that doesn't mean the other companies that are providing you services will say, "Oh, okay, cool," and just give me money when you got money, right?
Yeah.
No, they want money on their monthly basis, but that can be a rippling effect of how we feel about ourselves, how our family and people who rely on us feel about ourselves.
Yes.
That's what I was writing down. And you've always been in a sense of helping people and giving. And then you started thinking that giving is cool, but if you're giving from a sense of you feeling like you're not worthy,
Yeah.
and then you're not really in a situation where charging someone who can afford your services, you're giving your services away at a very low price.
Yeah.
That adds to the problem, right? And then it's just this imposter syndrome. Those are big things, man.
Yeah.
And as you were sharing this with me, what also spoke to me is that you wrote a lot of books.
Yeah.
Where the solution is in the books that you wrote, right?
It is.
And so someone has told me, you need to practice what you preach. It's like, no shit. Like,
exactly.
I'm not preaching this saying that I'm not human.
Right. I go through those times where I'm being a little combative and I'm being stubborn and
like
everything
we're not
like
listening
that.
to God on the shoulder. God's trying to tell you, bro, you valuable. Like what? You talking to me?
Most people don't understand. It's hard to listen to your own advice when you're so engulfed in a problem.
Yeah.
I'm trying to fix the problem. Yeah, I know that I should be doing this. Yeah, I know I should be doing that. But right now, this bill needs to be paid. Right now, my wife needs this. Right now, my son needs this. And I need to figure out the quickest way to get that, and then I'll get back to the problem.
Yeah.
Because as a man, as a businessman or a man, period, your first priority is your family.
Yeah.
So when you're going through this situation where the money's not right, your mind goes to man first before businessman. You're trying to figure out how to fix the family problem first before you're trying to fix the business problem. You have to find a healthy medium, and that's where I'm at the moment, trying to figure out this healthy medium where I understand that what I do with the business helps out at home and vice versa. So I'm trying to find that great pendulum where it's working back and forth, and I'm able to get in a rhythm. Because if I don't find it, priority one is always the family for me. And in some men, priority one is the business. That's how you get an individual where the family's like, we never see dad. We never see, we never knew him. That's because the priority to him was making the money and building the business, building the passion. But for me, the business will lack, it will fall down because my first priority is the household. So I have to figure out this walk in the middle where I'm walking this great line of everything works in the good for moving forward. So that's one of the lessons I'm learning at the moment, and trying to build a system that integrates into both sides of my life, which is the businessman and the father and husband and all that.
Definitely an overlap. Let me ask you though. I hate when people. Who's your coach right now? Do you have a coach?
Man, it's been a while since I've had one. Right?
Yeah. Do you have one right now?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so it's really interesting because as I was listening to you, and it kind of goes back to what I was hearing, and I also believe that there's no expert in the human experience.
No. Right.
And so anything that I say that is helping someone listening to this or even helping you, it's not like I'm trying to solve your issue.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Let's not even get into my issues, right? But the point I'm making is that the best we can do is share our experiences.
Yep.
And in the hopes that our experiences can help someone else think more effectively, move more gracefully through challenges,
Yep.
and then form the tapestry of their life.
Yeah.
Manifest their ideas. And so the things that you shared, right? And I want you to look at this and take notes, right?
Yeah.
Because you shared things to me that I need to do, and I think it's a solution for anybody that's going through what we're going through, some challenges.
Yeah.
It's number one, getting quiet, slowing down,
Man.
and not feeling like it got to be fixed now. Like the bill is due like next month. I don't know how I'm going to make it. So it's like there's a sense of urgency, but we got to slow down and breathe.
If you don't, you're not going to be able to find a solution.
And then come from a position of faith, knowing that if you are a faithful person, God has this.
I have always believed that. There's never been a time where I didn't think things were going to be.
So anytime we worry, anytime we're concerned, anytime we're anxious, because it's like, I was thinking for myself, it's like, there's some times where I have fear, doubt.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is going to work out, God. You going to let me know? When you going to let me know? And so I think that part is that going through this allows you an opportunity to strengthen it. And then the last thing I was thinking was, so slowing down, knowing that God has this. Oh, your book.
Yes.
When you say wire for success.
Yeah.
How to attract anything you want in life by rewiring your mind.
Yes.
And I just remember that we have these thoughts, right?
Limited beliefs.
Yeah.
Always.
And how those are created through neural pathways in our mind.
Yep.
To where when we want to even think something new or think abundantly or think whatever it is we're thinking, not being mindful of the prior wiring that's in our mind.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I was just thinking about those things when you were sharing your challenges.
A good thing about that, about the wiring, the neural pathways that you were talking about, right? So I was doing research a long time ago. That's where when I was writing some of these books, I was doing some of the research. And what happens is if you want to build a new habit or a new thought process, you can actually rewire your mind. It just takes a little time, right? When you learn something new, like let's say you were trying to swim. When you're trying to swim and you're going through this process, it's 4 or 5 weeks, and they're teaching you all these things, say basketball, whatever it is, your brain is creating these new driveways, these pathways to that new knowledge. And it will take away the old knowledge. When you're trying to learn how to swim, your first instinct is, I'm going to drown.
I was just thinking about that, right?
How come once you learn how to swim, that thought of I'm going to drown comes out, and you have this new thought, I just have to keep running my arms. I have to keep doing this. It's the same thing with your neural pathways. If you're thinking that you're not going to make it, if you're thinking that I don't have enough, you have to start integrating into your life things that are going to input your brain that says you have more than what you need. You just have to find it. And it will take out those other neural pathways. Your brain is wired this way, like literally on a physical level. It will take away those other neural pathways and give you new ways of thinking. And then after a while, it becomes an actual thought all the time.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out a way to, and one of my ways to do it, and I'll give some of the ways I do it, right? I love shows that input knowledge into me. One of the shows that I love is Billions. It's on Showtime. It's about a hedge fund manager named Bobby Axelrod. And a lot of the thinking strategies and the way I reverse engineer life going backwards have changed through how hedge fund managers reverse engineer the market. So when I'm feeling like I can't think through a problem or I need some upliftment, I watch like some of my favorite episodes of Billions, and it'll click in my head what I'm supposed to do at the moment. And I end up pulling out my notebook and going through it. Or there's songs that put a certain feeling in my heart that takes away the despair and puts in this joy and this inspiration. So there is something, like guys got to understand, there's a song, there's a book, there's a show, there's something that every time you see it, every time you look at it, every time you hear it, you feel amazing. Start using those things when you have despair in your heart and I don't have enough faith. Use that thing. Even a song. I have a song, 2 of them, from Kirk Franklin back when he was back in the day, that when I'm feeling like God is not on my side, there's 2 songs that I would listen to. One is Let Me Touch You. This is back when they were in with Kirk Franklin in the group, right? The name of the first song is Let Me Touch You. It's like it's about let me touch the hem of your garment to see if you are real. That's that song. And then Conquerors. Those two songs right there, if I'm feeling like God is not on my side, I need somewhere to get these tears out and get back to the joy of knowing that he got my back, I'll listen to those two songs and I'm back on track.
All right. Well, I got another question for you then. So, given where you are, given the hardship that people don't see,
Yeah.
right? Because they don't see that you're struggling.
Yeah.
They don't see that you have this. You had, and I don't know if you still have it.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome, where
absolutely,
it's hindering you charging the true value
Yeah.
of what you're giving, right?
Yeah.
But I always believe you should give more. You should give more in value than you get in money, because
Absolutely.
people can never pay for the full value of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But definitely by you giving more value, you'll get something in return. So people are not seeing those things. When I hear your story about how you began and had that conversation with your mother at 18,
Yeah.
to go to the Job Corps,
Yeah.
we have to realize, in my opinion, that we don't fix our own problems. Like, we're not by ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes a village. It takes other people.
Yeah.
So in your situation, how are you seeing the use of resources around you to get you through these difficult times that you're going through?
So you talked earlier about having a coach or someone
Yeah.
to walk me through things. I have been opening up my life to talk to people, and I tell my story, and it's obviously, as you can see, in its most genuine way, so that if someone says, hey, I can help you, I'm open to that conversation. So I'm always open to when God brings in the right person in my life.
Okay.
Right. So I'm always talking about what, and I'm not out here, oh man, I'm doing so well. And they be like, man, how you doing? I'm doing okay. I can do a lot better. Right. There are some challenges I'm going through at the moment. What are some of the challenges? I'll answer their questions. And if they feel like they can add value, I'm always open to it. So I'm always putting myself in position so that God can send me the right person that's going to take me through it, because I know that I can't do it alone. Right. Even he walked with 15 disciples, right? So it helped him out to get his word out on what he was trying to do. So I know that I'm going to need some people along the way. So I have a few friends who are definitely encouraging me and showing me my value on a weekly or monthly basis. And they're telling me, man, you got this, keep going. And then I'm looking for, so there's this thing that I know, coaching comes from all angles, right? You have to have them on all angles. You have to have people that's on your level that you can help from right to left. Right, you got to have people up under you that you're bringing upwards, and then you have to have someone above you that's helping you move upward. If you have people on all those sides, you're always going to be moving up. Right now, I'm in that position where I don't have the person that's above me that's willing to pour into me to bring me upward, and I'm just looking for that guy. And I put myself in position to where when God puts me in that position with that guy or that woman or whoever it is, that I'm going to be like, yeah, let's do it. Right. So at the moment, I'm just waiting for him to put me on the right. You know what I mean? I'm walking the path, and when you put me in front of that person, I'm going to sit still and I'm going to listen, right? So in the meantime, I got to keep working. Okay. I got to keep using the resources I already have so that I can move forward. So, yeah, I'm definitely open to and wishing for, and if there's someone out there in the network who thinks they can help me out with some of my problems, please reach out to me, because I would love to hear from you and find out, because I don't care if it was a bum on the street or if it was a billionaire in Dubai. I believe I can learn from anyone and everyone. So if you feel like you can help me, please reach out, and I would love to hear from you.
All right. Well, I'm going to help you, my brother. Right?
Oh, man, I appreciate
I got a pretty big Rolodex, right? So here's what I say, too. No matter where you are, I believe we can be of value to other people. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to referrals or anything of that nature, I was told that we probably have, the average person has around 250 people that will come to their services if they were to die. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or definitely 250 people who are touched in their lives. You know, you're a part of their life. Yeah. And so when we meet each other, and our networking and collaboration is never about you or me. Yeah. It's never about each other. It's really about how our collaboration can bless more people. Yep. So if I'm truly coming to the table and let's say I have no money, I have no resources, I have this perception that I have no value to give you. Yeah. We all have value, because we all have 250 people that might be of value to you. Yeah. Right? That's what I'm bringing. So the way we get to determine that is, how do we get to know each other? How do we build a trusting and authentic relationship so I know who you are, and I feel comfortable referring my 250 people to you. Yeah. And vice versa, right? Yeah. So I think there's always something to give. And what you just talked about, the three different people around us, I keep repeating again, the Empowerseries, I do this a lot for me, because this is what I need, right? Yeah. I listen to my programs over again, and so Dr. George Fraser again said there should be 3 networks that you should have. He wrote this book called Click. But he said the first network is your personal network.
Yep.
Those are the people around you, your support system, people who love you, care for you, they uplift you, and that's your personal network. Then you have your operational network. Those are the people who you work with and can collaborate with to get things done. So whether it's in your business, it's in your community involvement, it's your nonprofit, your church, your work, whatever that is, that's the people that are around you, right?
Yeah.
But then you have your strategic network. And those are people who are like doing things that are knocking it out the park. They're doing things at a much greater level than you are.
Man.
Those are the people that you are strategic, and they can be your coaches, your mentors. They stretch you. They make you cry.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so if you're saying that you need some of those people, I know some people, right?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we're going to have a deep conversation because there's several people, like I know Shaka Senghor. Shaka Senghor has been on the Empower series. Nicola Beach, she's a consultant. Nicola Beach did a program here in 2017 and shared her wisdom about how to position yourself to win.
Okay.
And she also shared that in the 1990s or so, she had a vision to be with Oprah Winfrey, work with her. And she's been in the room with her 4 times. You know, it hasn't worked out yet, but I know it. You know, and she talked about the things that successful people do, what they practice.
Yeah.
The things you know in your book.
Yeah.
You don't know them and say, okay, I checked that off. You practice these things.
Yeah.
These are things that you just don't go and you say, okay, I got it. You practice it on a regular basis. So successful people practice saying yes to their vision.
Yeah.
They practice being quiet and hearing from God. They practice these principles that are key to being successful.
Yeah.
So she talked about her vision and how she's believing and practicing it. She's going to be working with Oprah one day.
That's awesome.
And then in 2020, she got a call, and she was the initial personal counselor on Put a Ring on It, on the Oprah's own show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she made it to, I think, 2 or 3 series before she moved on to something else.
Yeah.
But hey, she's in my circle, right?
Yeah.
So I know some people who are doing some pretty big things, man. And so, you know, offline, we'll talk more about who can I introduce you to that through that collaboration, more people's lives would be blessed.
Grateful.
Right?
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, man. This is like, this is some good stuff, man.
Man, I love it, man. It's been good.
So here's one thing I want to do. We can talk forever here, but we may have to come back again.
Yeah.
If people want to get in touch with you,
Yes.
how do they get in touch with you if you are the resource for them?
So if you are looking to, if you're looking for a consultant that can increase your revenue through lead generation, conversions, profit margins, and other areas that affect your financial cash flow, then please reach out to me at 1120ventures.com, or you can just type in your Google search Michael Burks Jr., and you can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, any of those places, and you'll be able to get in contact with me. I think probably the quickest way to get in contact with me would be on Instagram. If you want to go to Michael Burks Jr. on Instagram and direct message me, I'll answer my DMs and we can get in a conversation and find out if it's viable for me to help you or if I have a resource in my network that can help them. But that's how you find me.
Yeah, man. I'm just, in my mind, I was going through a number of different consultants and support systems for consultants.
Yeah.
That I want to introduce you to. I won't give them a blast here. I'll have to come on the show and talk about what they do themselves. But yeah, man, I appreciate you taking a portion of your life and really coming here and opening up and just showing us the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time to go really deep, but you mentioned a lot of things that I think we as individuals and human deal with. And one is truly realizing our wealth, our self-worth, our value.
Yeah.
It's said that, God values us more than we do. We can do all things through God who's all things are possible through God.
Absolutely.
But yet when we have our doubt, when we have our worry, when we have our fear, even though the word says don't worry, we tend to worry, right?
Man.
And so so hopefully this program has given someone hope.
I hope so.
Hopefully this program has inspired somebody to take some kind of action on their dream, writing it down, believing in it, and start hanging out with the dream, start kicking it to the curb, right? We've educated people on this show. They know more now than they did before they watched.
Good.
But then more importantly, stay connected, right?
Absolutely. Connections
are the key. So if you want to connect with me at the Empower Series, you simply do it now. Subscribe to our channel.
Please do.
Go ahead and share it with other people. If you want to email me directly, if there's something that you have a question on and you put it in the comment, or you don't want to put it in the comment or put it in the live chat, go ahead and email me at thrive@empowerseries.com. That comes to me, thrive@empowerseries.com. Go to our website, www.empowerseries.com. You can also give us your name, your email address, and be on our newsletter. You can give us some feedback by clicking on the survey in the top right-hand corner. You can always make a donation, right? Because personal development takes funding.
Yes.
Right? Doing this program for community development takes funding. So if you know somebody that would like to invest in the Empower Series, you can make a donation by clicking donation on our website, or you can text, give, or donate to 214-225-6337. That's 214-225-6337. Did I just change the numbers around?
Sound like it.
Okay, back up. 214. Now you got me thinking, man.
Right.
Just email me, right?
Yeah, just email. Right.
You just got me all shaking up, bro.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, if you guys are looking to donate, man, I want to say this wholeheartedly. I've known this gentleman possibly now for 3 or 4 years, and the impact that he is having on the community, both faith-based and through just business, is huge. And if you feel like you want to be a part of this, a part of anything that is impactful to the business owners that are in this community, I think you should donate. I think you should reach inside your resources and find out what it would look like to donate time, money, or whatever, to making sure that this platform continues to make the impact that you're looking at right now, because I know you're a subscriber. I know you're a person that watches this video. I know that you're a person who's commenting and all this other things. So if you feel like you want to be a part of it a little bit more, if you feel like I'm not doing enough, then it might be time to donate some time. It might be time to donate some effort. It might be time to donate some money, whatever that looks like. But I implore you to get a part of it. Find a way to be a part of something, because God did not intend for you to use your resources just for you. He wanted you to use your resources to impact the world. And I think Empower Series is definitely where you can do that from.
I mean, I appreciate you, man, but I did check my number too, and it's the right number.
It's the right number?
So 214-225-6337. But thank you, man. And also, I would tell you, there's other ways to give. We've reached over 12,000 subscribers now.
Oh, wow.
On YouTube channel. And so we had 10,000 on December 22nd.
Man.
But then within a month, my vision is that we grow to 25,000. I might have to increase that, because just in a month, we got 2,000 more.
It's time to think bigger.
So, hey, and all I'm doing is I'm putting out there, I'm a positive force of energy that is truly to inspire people to thrive in every area of their life, whether it's business, relationships, community involvement, personal relationships, whatever that is, your health. So that's what we're all about. Be a part of the community. If you want to, again, invest and be a part of that, time is needed. We need digital ambassadors. We need people who's going to spread this with other people so that we can have a viral effect of positivity on the world.
Yes.
We need people who have in-kind services, like AE Media Group is doing a lot to help us look good on social media. Mm-hmm. So they are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of media editing and content to help us reach a broader the universe, right?
Yeah.
Or if you want to donate your resources. So either way, we'll take it all. You can also do a super thank you. A super thank you on YouTube. You can go down below the video. If you don't see the little heart with the dollar signs, you can hit the 3 buttons and you'll see that, and provide your resources in that way. You can join and become an Empower Series member. There's all these different ways you can contribute and, again, invest in the future of our communities. But I want to thank you all. I wake up every day talking about, so how you doing, man? So, well, I'm winning.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling.
That's it.
I'm winning because I woke up, I got an opportunity to pour into people's lives, but I'm also struggling because there would be no progress without struggle.
Absolutely.
And so I wish you the same. I wish you winning, and I wish you some struggling to grow and make your ideas come to life. And more importantly, take action on what you got from this podcast today.
Please.
Yeah. Any closing comments before we say goodbye?
Remember, the scripture talks about no weapon formed against me shall prosper. But at no point did not say that the weapon would not be formed and used against you. That is where you use the full armor of God at. So do not despair about the war that you're in. Just get armed and ready and fight, because you already know you won. Talk to you soon.
I love that, man. I love that. Dude, you getting wisdom here, and it's never. Whenever you got a beef, man, it's never between you and them. It never is.
It's never.
It's never between. It's between you and God. So love anyway.
Anyway,
Give anyway. Be of service anyway.
you won already.
Yeah.
He already told you won.
Always.
So live like you already
always.
won. The war is already good. I mean, that's just a process. That's part of the process. I already know what the end result looks like.
You got it.
That's how I get through everything. I already know I won. I just have to get through this little bit of peace.
Well, hey, you know what? I may know it. I just got to be reminded all the time.
I got you. I'll text you every morning. You already won, brother.
So, hey, until we meet again, be empowered and inspired to thrive. Thank you for joining us today. Be empowered and inspired to thrive. Inspired to thrive. Be a blessing.